Good morning, students. Let us start the next chapter, light, shadows and reflections. First, I'll explain the meanings of the light, shadows and reflections, since it is the title of the chapter. Light. Light is the electromagnetic radiation that makes the subjects or objects visible. Electromagnetic radiation, something that provides us heat, and it is also making the subjects or objects to be seen by us. Means if light is not there, we cannot see the subjects or objects. So light is something because of which we are able to see the subjects and objects. And what is that something? Electromagnetic radiation. That is making us to see the subjects or objects. If light is not there, we cannot see the subjects or objects. Next, shadow. An intangible dark shape of a subject or object that is formed on an opaque surface. Tangible means something that can be sensed by us with touch. We can touch it and feel it about something. That is what called tangible thing. Okay. All real materials, real things. Okay. Like your grains, body, anything. When you touch, you can feel that one. You can touch. Intangible means something you cannot touch. You can see it, but you cannot touch it. You may think that it is very near, it is very close, it may be falling on you, but you cannot hold it, you cannot touch it. Okay? Such a thing is called intangible. So, shadow is an intangible dark shape of a subject or object that is formed on an opaque surface or opaque screen. When it is formed, when the subject or object is placed between the rays of light and the surface or screen. So when you bring an opaque object in between the rays of light and the screen, then the shape of that opaque object will be formed on the screen or will be captured on the screen. Okay. Such dark shape of the object is known as shadow. Okay. Details of the shadows we will discuss in the next level. Reflection. What is reflection? Reflection is change in the direction of wave front. Change in the direction of wave front at an interface between two different media, so that the wave front returns into the medium from which it is originated. Right. So, the waves are formed. Waves are present in light. Sound waves are there. Water waves are there. Any wave. So, here there is a light source. From this, light waves are coming out. They are falling on a next medium. This is air. Air is one medium. And mirror is another medium. So the wave front, this is the wave front, assume that. When it is falling on the next medium, which is different from this air, what is happening? Up to here, the direction of this light, it is in this direction. In this direction, see. When it is falling on the next medium, the direction of the wave front of this light is changed and it is moving in another angle. Are you getting it? Right? And it is again entering back into the medium from where it has fallen on this medium. Okay. So the wave front, it is entering from air and falling on the mirror. Right? And after it is falling on the mirror, direction of this wave front is changed and again it is coming back to the same air medium. So that's what. Change in the direction of wave front at an interface between two different media. This is the interface where the medium of air, the medium of mirror both are joining. At this interface, there is a change in the direction of the wave front. Okay. So that the wave front is returning into the medium from which it is originated. So air is one medium, mirror is another medium. Okay. This is the reflected wave front of light. This is the wave front of the light from the air, and this is the interface between two media. Okay, like this reflection is taking place. Reflection can occur with light, with sound, and with even water waves, etc. So reflection of light we can study, reflection of sound we can study in the form of echo, and reflection of water waves also we can study. Okay. Now coming back to light. Because of light we can see the subjects and objects. Because of light we can see them colorful and different. So how can we see the colors of the subjects or objects? Because of light. Now how can we identify many subjects as different ones? Because of light. Okay. As light is not present, we cannot see anything in the dark room or dark area. So if you enter in dark room or dark area, you cannot see anything. You feel like you are blind. Okay. It is not that your eyes are not working. It is because the light is not there in the dark room. You are not able to see anything in the dark room. Thus, light helps us to see the objects. Okay. But from where the light is coming? There are some objects that give out light or that emit light of their own. There are some objects that give out light or that emit light on their own, like sun, torch bulb when it is switched on, lit candle, okay, stars, etc. All these things, they give out light on their own. Objects like the sun that give out or emit light of their own are called luminous objects. Okay, based on the ability of emitting light of their own, objects are of two types, luminous and non-luminous. Objects like sun that give out or emit light of their own are called luminous objects. Sun, torch bulb, stars, lit candle, whatever we have written in the top, same things. Okay. Non-luminous objects, the objects which do not give out or which do not emit light of their own, and they are visible only because of the luminous objects. They are called non-luminous objects. Example, moon, planets, plants, animals, water, etc. Why I have specifically written moon? We all know that in the night moon will be shining and we feel that because of moon we are getting light. But actually from the moon, whatever the light that is coming out, It is the reflected light. In the night we cannot see the sun, but from the sun the light is falling on the moon. That light, when it is getting reflected, that light is falling on the earth. So moon looks like it is emitting light, but actually that light is not emitted by the moon on its own. Okay, it is the reflected light. Planets, near to the moon, you can see the stars like things which do not blink. Actually, stars appear as if they are blinking. But near to the moon, some stars like things are seen, but they are not stars, they are other planets. Okay, little far away planets. They also appear like they are bright. But are they luminous? No. They also emit light because that light is reflected light, not their own light. Okay. Plants and animals, do they emit light? No, they do not emit light. There are so many things you can write. Your chair, table, okay, your school bag, notebooks, all these are non-luminous things only. Okay. Next. So based on the ability of emitting light, objects are grouped into two. They are luminous and non-luminous objects that we already discussed. Now, objects are grouped into three groups based on the property transparency. Okay, already you have learnt in the previous chapters. Based on different properties, the materials or objects are grouped into several groupings. Among such properties, one is transparency. Based on the transparency, our ability to allow the light to pass through. What is transparency? Ability to allow the light to pass through it is known as transparency. Based on transparency, the objects are grouped into three groups. They are transparent, opaque, and translucent. Transparent, opaque, and translucent. What is this transparent objects? The objects which allow the light to pass through them completely. The objects which allow the light to pass through them completely are called transparent objects. Means the light can pass through the transparent objects completely. Okay. The object, it does not hinder or block the light to enter into it. So the light can pass through it completely. As light can pass through the transparent object completely, we can see clearly through transparent objects. So if any one of you are using spectacles, the glass of your spectacles is transparent, because of which only you are able to see through the glasses. Okay, they are clear glasses. Next, we are able to see little far away objects also, but in between you and that object, what is present? Air is present, but still you are able to see. So air is transparent. Likewise, the object or the material that is allowing the light to pass through it completely is known as transparent objects. And as the light is allowed to pass through transparent objects completely, we will be able to see through the transparent objects clearly. Okay, right. Next, opaque objects. The objects which do not allow the light to pass through them at all. No light can pass through that object. Such an object is known as opaque object. So the objects which do not allow the light to pass through them at all are called opaque objects. As light does not pass through them at all, we cannot see through opaque objects at all. No light can pass through it, so we cannot see anything through opaque objects. Can you see through the wall? No. Can you see through the mirror? You can see your face in the mirror, but other side of the mirror, what is there? You cannot see. when mirror is present in front of your eyes. Okay, if you want to see, you have to peep by looking above the mirror or below the mirror, but through mirror you cannot see anything. Okay, right? Can you see anything through any human body or any animal body or any of your notebook or any of your bag? Okay, any of your thick paper? No. So, why? Light cannot pass through them at all. So, you cannot see anything through those objects at all, right? Okay. Next, translucent objects. The objects which allow the light to pass through them partially. Transparent objects, they allow the light to pass through them completely, whereas translucent objects, they allow the light to pass through them partially. And such objects are known as translucent objects. As light pass through them only partially, we can see through translucent objects but not clearly. If light is passed through the objects completely, we can see the objects through them completely. If light is passed through the objects partially, we can see through such translucent objects but not clearly. Why? The light that is passed is only partial, so we cannot see the things clearly. Tracing paper, oil applied paper, etc. and a layer of water that is falling from the top to down. Assume that some water is falling like a layer from top to down. Okay, and you are present at one side of that layer. The other side of that water layer, you can see the things but not clearly. Next, shadows. Shadow, a dark shape of the object formed on the surface or screen when the object is placed in between the rays of light and surface. I already have told about this shadow in the starting itself. Okay, a dark shape of the object which is formed on a screen when the object is placed in between the rays of light and the screen. Okay, shadows are formed only by opaque objects. If a clear glass is placed in between the rays of light and the screen, what will happen? Through that clear glass, light will pass through it. So, no shadow can be formed. If an opaque object is placed, then only, as light is not able to pass through that object, its shadow will be formed on the screen. Okay, so shadows are formed only by opaque objects. Shadows are not formed in dark room, and shadows are not formed where there is no screen at all. So, what are the required things for shadow formation? A light source, an opaque object, and an opaque surface or screen. So, if any one of them are missing, then shadows are not formed. Let us learn some of the properties of shadow. Shadows may give us some information about the shapes of objects. Sometimes shadows may give us wrong shapes of the objects. Many of the times they may give us some hint about the shape of the objects. Information about the shapes of the objects can be given by the shadows. Sometimes shadows may give us wrong shapes of the objects. They may mislead us. Using your hands, okay, by just putting your fingers in different shapes in front of the light source, you may form the shadow in the shape of some dog, cat or snake, etc. But actually, your hands are not dog, your hands are not any cat or snake. But are they not formed in that shapes? They are formed. That means shadows may even mislead us also. And shadows do not provide the information like color of the object, internal structure of the object, weight of the object, smell of the objects, etc. So shadows are going to provide maximum some shape of the object, that's it. They do not provide information like a color of the object, internal structure of the object, weight of the object, smell of the objects. Can anyone tell these informations by looking at the shadow? It is not possible, right? And shadow's shape and size, it gets changed based on the what? Position and angle of the object from the light source. So based on the position where the opaque object is present in front of that light source, at which angle it is present, and how far from that light source the object is placed, based on the position and in which angle that it is present. Okay, the shadow's shape and size. If it is present near, okay, the shadow may be formed bigger. If the object is present far from the light source, the shadow that may be formed smaller one. And based on the angle, if the object is present little upper angle from the light source, then the shadow will be formed, okay, on the top area of the screen. If the object is present at little lower angle from the light source, then the shadow may be formed on the bottom area of the screen, right? Like this, shadow shape and size, it gets changed based on the position and angle of the object from the light source. Our shadow is formed towards west in the morning. So during the sunrise time, if you are standing in front of the sun, your shadow will be formed behind you. That is, you are facing towards the sun, that is to east side, and your shadow is formed in the west side. Whereas our shadow is formed towards east in the evening, right? So at the evening time, when you are facing towards the sun, okay, your shadow is formed in the east. And our shadow does not form at all exactly in the mid-noon time, because the sun is present exactly above our head. So our shadow does not form, because your shadow is just present under your feet, so which you cannot be watching, right? So shadows are not formed exactly in the mid-noon. Next, we will discuss about pinhole camera and other things of this chapter in the next class. Thank you.